Welcome to the Jays Tonight series recap from the opening series in St. Louis. We are back again after a long hiatus of not recording, but don't worry, we are on full blast for the season. I'm here with Ryan again, and we're getting ready to recap the series versus the Cardinals. Not a very good series for the Blue Jays. The opening day was quite lucky with all the blue pits we've got, and then the terrible pitching. But before we get into the actual recap, just your overall thoughts on this not so good opening series.
I'd like to say the pitching hasn't been the greatest. I know Manoa, not like I said, not the greatest. Gosman, I don't think was terrible, but like I said, his BABIP, he's just been really unlucky. Like last year and even the start of this year, and then Bassett, like I said, 9 runs in like 3 innings. So yeah, the starting pitching hasn't been great. The bullpen's been, I'd say, little shaky, but like Romano's been pretty good, so we don't really have to worry about that. And then the offense is no home runs in 3 games, so I'm questioning the offense too a little bit.
First time in franchise history, the Blue Jays have not hit a home run through the first series. I told you this before the game, but I feel like it needs to be brought up. For a team that scores a lot of runs via the long ball, this was kind of a surprise, and it might have been a key factor that we did not win this series. Anyways, moving on into the recap. Before I do so, make sure to leave your comments in the live chat to have them be answered. Owen, I see you in there. Welcome. But getting into the recap, 10-9 win on opening day. Started top of the first with Varsho's double. He drove in Springer. Bichette got to third. That was one of the hardest hit balls of the opening weekend for the Blue Jays. Probably one of the 2 hits the Blue Jays had that game out of the 19 that we had total that were hard hit. The other one being Springer. Other than that, moving on. Alejandro Kirk drives in Bichette and Varsho, 2-run single. Bottom of the first, Arenado singles in Donovan, putting the Cardinals on the board, 3-1. Top of the second, Bo Bichette doubles in Springer after a misplay from Walker. Kind of went under his legs, allowing Springer to score. Bottom of the third, Tyler O'Neill from Burnaby, British Columbia, but he grew up in Maple Ridge. So nice to see him getting on the board, although it comes at our expense. He hits a home run to right center, making it a 1-run game. Then Brendan Donovan homers, 5-5 tie. Then Goldschmidt, bottom of the sixth, he singles in a run, giving the Cardinals the lead, 6-5. We do see the major league debut of Nathan Lucas in this game. He pinch hits for, I believe it was Brandon Belt after his double, and Chapman drives him in. Then with the Jays down 7-6, Guerrero singles in Springer and Bichette, giving the Jays the lead after another misplay from Walker. Although he is just getting used to the outfield, he was drafted as the third baseman, I do believe. So they are trying him out in a new position, and we did take advantage of that in this game. Moving on, bottom of the eighth. Nolan Arenado hits a ground rule double, scoring Nootbaar and Goldschmidt, giving the Cardinals a 9-8 lead. Springer ties the game with a single, scoring Whit Merrifield in the top of the ninth. And then Guerrero hits a sac fly, scoring Kevin Kiermaier, who went first to third on the Springer single. Kiermaier finished that game with a hit. Bottom of the ninth, Romano strikes out. Strikeout, ground out, strikeout. 2 strikeouts in the inning. We'll get some. I'll give you some stats on this game before we get into our final thoughts. Springer, 5 for 6, 4 runs scored. Bichette, 4 for 6 with an RBI. Guerrero, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Manoa, 3 and a third, 9 hits, 5 earned runs. Romano with an inning, a save, and 2 strikeouts. That was a lot to unpack because it was a 10-9 final, and there were 19 runs combined in the game. But overall, what are your thoughts on this opener for Toronto? Our only win in the series.
I would just like to say, first game, I thought there were some like decent at bats. The base running was really good. That's what stand out to me. For example, there was Kiermaier was on first, and Springer hit that little bloop. And most people would have stopped at second, but Kiermaier, because he's a smart base runner, went to third. So I really think the base running has improved, and it kind of stood out for me. And what about you, Sam?
Well, my overall thoughts are the new guys showed up. Although I think Belt only went 1 for 4, but he did get his first hit as a Blue Jay. People seem to forget that because of the bad game he had on Saturday, but he did get his first hit. His double eventually scored the tying run via Nathan Lucas. He got his first appearance in the big leagues. But yeah, Varsho driving in the first run. Kiermaier, great base running. Happy to see him get his first hit. He picked up 2 more on Saturday. Great base running. If it weren't for that, we may not have taken the lead in that one, and who knows what the Cardinals would have done later on in the game. We could be looking at a series sweep if it weren't for Kiermaier. But overall, good win, maybe to capitalize on all of the blue pits we got, but I'm glad that we found a way to keep fighting back in this game. It shows how resilient our team can be if it really wants to be.
Exactly.
Moving on though, we do have 2 more games, and unfortunately, those are our 2 losses, but we still have to recap them. 4-1 loss on Saturday. Bottom of the third, it starts off. 2 runners were on base when Arenado hits one to third. Throwing error from Chapman. He couldn't get it out of his glove, and then he panics, throwing it away. That scored Brendan Donovan, giving the Cardinals the lead. Couple batters later, Nolan Gorman hits a 2-run single. He was a thorn in the side of the Blue Jays this series, along with Donovan. But he scores Goldschmidt and Arenado, and makes it 3-0. Bottom of the 8th, Jays did get a run in this game, but then Walker with an infield single makes it 4-1, and then the Jays would end up losing the game. Some stats in this one: Kiermaier 2 for 4, Bichette 1 for 4, Guerrero did go 0 for 2, but he had 3 walks and a run scored. Gosman, great outing. 6 innings pitched, 3 runs, no earned runs, and 7 strikeouts. This game was annoying. It was frustrating, but we may not have a lot of thoughts other than they need to capitalize on these walks. But what are your thoughts on the Game 2 loss?
Yeah, like for example, Jack Flaherty went 5 innings, gave up 7 walks. Jordan Hicks went .1 of an inning, gave up 3 walks. And you know what? They had really got eye for the plate, but if you can't drive them in, what's the point of even taking the walk? So I do think we need to capitalize on our walks. And and then for Gosman, right? I just think he got really unlucky. Like a lot of it was soft dribblers up the middle or little bloopers. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think the theme of this game is the Blue Jays just going back to their inconsistent offensive ways. I'll touch on it again when we recap the next game, but it happened last season. They would go a game where they would score, 28 runs against the Red Sox. Granted, they swept that series, but the next couple of games after that series, they weren't getting anything. They couldn't buy a run. So it was inconsistent play from the offense. They'll go a game where they'll score 10 runs, and then they'll go a game where they score 1 and then 3 or 4 the next day. That's not going to win you 3-4 games in a row, and that's what they need to do. When the Yankees are starting off 2-1, the Red Sox are starting off 2-1, the Rays are already 3-0. The Orioles had an impressive win on opening day. Granted, they are 1-2 like we are, but we do not want to have the same record as them. They are a good team, but we should be at the top of this division, if not fighting for it with the Yankees. So, not a very good game from our part. We move on to the third game. Was a 9-4 loss today versus the Cardinals. Bottom of the first, Donovan leads off the game with a home run. I will mention this was the debut of Chris Bassett, and it did not go well. Like I said, Donovan led off the game with a home run. Burleson goes back-to-back with him. makes it 2-0, and then later on in the first, Gorman hits a 2-run home run. That's the first of two he hit in this game. Top of the second, Chapman does double, scoring Varsho, makes it 4-1. Gorman does it again, 2-run home run, makes it 7-1. Cardinals win 9-4. Some stats for you: Varsho 2 for 4 with a run, Chapman 3 for 4, 2 runs scored with an RBI. Whit Merrifield 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Bassett 3 and a third, 10 hits, 9 earned runs, 0 strikeouts. Trevor Richards had a good outing out of the bullpen. He pitched 2, allowing no runs. He had 3 strikeouts. That changeup looked good for him. But yeah, overall, not a good game. Just like the game on Saturday, it was a little bit better for the offense. We did have a little bit of a better average with runners in scoring position, but still not good. But overall, thoughts on the series finale today?
Yeah, a little bit of a rough series the last two games, but as long as the Jays can, take this as a learning experience and go in to Kansas City and play good against the Royals with Brios and Kikuchi on the mound, and then I believe the last game would be Manoah, then that's what matters, move on to the next game. But yeah, like today, I don't think they did bad against Jordan Montgomery because they still got 3 runs off him in 5 innings, right? But then, that's and then the big dogs don't show up. Like Springer doesn't show up, Bichette doesn't show up, Vladdy doesn't show up. So if your big dogs aren't going to show up, then it's kind of hard to win.
I will mention that although Vladdy did not have the best of the next 2 games of the series, he did have some pretty hard hit outs, and he also had a double in this game that went to the wall. Pretty low liner. If it went any more up in the air, it would have been our first home run of the series. Could have been 450 plus, but tough luck for 9-4 loss. 1-2 in the standings is gonna get you tied for last with the Orioles. But some topics of discussion. We'll start off with 19 hits on opening day, but how many of those were really actually hit hard? I did mention Varsho's hit. I'll also mention some of Springer's hits. He had about 3 bloopers, but 2 hits of his were hit pretty good. I don't know. What do you think about those 19 hits?
Yeah, a lot of them were. There was only 2 of them that were actually hit really well, and a lot of them were weak contact and all that, and just found a way to get through. But yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
Yeah, for sure. Because you'll see 19 hits on the scorecard, but that's only good for one game. What you can take away from that, if they had been harder, they're swinging the bats good. They're hitting the baseball all over the place at an alarming rate, really fast. But all you're taking away is, they got 19 hits, but they were all bloopers. Maybe come next game, all those bloopers are going to be caught, especially with the defense with the Cardinals. But moving on, this was not a very good first 2 games for Brandon Belt. Yes, he did get the double, but 2 strikeouts with multiple runners on, including one with the bases loaded. He did not look comfortable at the plate, especially against Jack Flaherty in Game 2. I don't know what's going. I know it's the first 2 games, but I don't know what's going to happen with Brandon Belt.
Yeah, I would agree with you, but for me, I'm gonna try not to overreact and maybe see if Belt can put up some good at bats in the series against the Royals.
Totally agreed. Well, it'll be interesting to see what Schneider does to open up the series in Kansas City. But we move on to Alek Manoah, and this is 2 games now with high intensity matchups. One being Game 1 of the playoffs last year, the other being opening day this year. Not very good for Manoah, especially on opening day this year. Yes, we won the game, but when you score 10 runs and Alek Manoah's on the mound, you don't expect it to be a 1-run game.
Exactly.
Because this guy's supposed to be your ace. He's got the attitude for it. He's got the stuff for it, but it just did not come through with him. Yeah, moving on. Will Blue Jays offense be inconsistent again this season? And I mentioned this in game 2 with the offense was um, Thursday they scored 10 runs. They had a bunch of blue hits, but they scored 10 runs. The next 2 games they scored a combined 5, meaning that they scored double the amount of runs in the first game than they did the next 2 games. Yeah, 4 runs is cool when you have Chris Bassett on the mound, but obviously that didn't go well for Bassett today. Are we gonna see this again, or is John Schneider finally gonna say, "Hey guys, we gotta keep our foots on the gas pedal here. We cannot have a day off against a good team like the Cardinals"?
Yeah, for me, I think it would be they can take this as a learning experience and use it against the Royals, and yeah, and just play better baseball overall, fundamental baseball.
Yeah, I did like the fundamentals they played on opening day. I feel like they kind of went away from those as the series went along. Granted, we did see a couple stolen bases from Varsho, and he did try and lay a bunt down today. That didn't work because of that foul ball, but yeah, I the new guys are showing some good fundamentals. How about you guys boss around the guys that have already been here? Come on, Springer, you've been striking out and wailing at some pitches. How about you try some of it? But yeah. Moving on, this is a great segue as we talk about Kiermaier and Varsho. They have been making a pretty good impact throughout the first series. Kiermaier picks up 2 hits on Saturday, has some great base running on Thursday, and then Varsho with that double on Thursday picked up 2 more hits today off of the lefty Jordan Montgomery.
Also, not to mention, Kiermaier and Varsho both made 2 great defensive plays. Kiermaier made one today where it was going to be a base hit, but he dove for it and he caught it. And then Kiermaier had the sliding catch in Game 1 against St. Louis. So both of them have been really sound defensively too, which was another reason why we got them. Their amazing defense.
Yeah, that Kiermaier catch on opening day definitely saved another run. Arenado probably would have scored there.
Yeah, he's pretty speedy, yeah.
And then today with Varsho running into the left center field gap, that I don't think would have scored a run. I don't know. There might have been a runner on first in that scenario. I think there was. And there's a runner on third, which he scored from the sac fly. But again,
Still amazing.
great catch.
Amazing.
Even on Thursday with Varsho throwing one to second, cutting it off, keeping the double play in order. I don't think we got it, but that's gonna go a long way for getting us out of jams. But yeah, that's all I really got on the card for this series. Not too good. I kind of want to move on, and hopefully we can take advantage of a Royals team that hasn't really done much to start the season.
Yeah, next start is I believe it is tomorrow, 7:40 first pitch. Jose Barrios versus Brady Singer on the mound. Hopefully Barrios can bounce back from last season. Then April 4th, it's Yusei Kikuchi versus Chris Bubik, 7:40. And then last game of the season is April 5th, and we believe it's going to be Alek Manoah on the mound.
Yeah,
So,
and then
yeah,
Gosman will start on Thursday, and
exactly,
then
yeah.
we'll have blanking Bassett,
Barrios Kikuchi.
Barrios, Kikuchi in Anaheim, and then after that, that lines up for Alek Manoah, Kevin Gosman, and Chris Bassett to start the opening series, and you will be at opening day. So hopefully, Alek Manoah shows up for you, and yeah,
Another
hopefully,
big
but
moment.
yeah,
Another big moment. So,
yeah,
well,
hopefully by that time, we've kind of shaken up our record and
yeah.
we're back in the win column, hopefully in a good spot.
Exactly.
But yeah, um, I did see a comment there from Owen talking about the
How can
pitch
a pitch
clock.
com be the reason why you can't locate? That doesn't make sense.
Let's see. How can a pitch? What do you mean? By? Do you mean like pitch clock or um
Pitch com, like that's
pitch
where you're
clock? Yeah,
pressing
yeah,
the
yeah. I
like
thought it. I thought
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
How can pitch clock be the reason why you can't locate? That doesn't make sense.
Because maybe you're overthinking the pitch.
It's
Maybe.
not necessarily that. I think Joe Siddle mentioned this on the pregame on Sportsnet Blue Jays Central, but he was saying that he would like Jansen to be calling the pitches so that Chris doesn't have to worry about calling the game. He can focus more on the command and the execution of his pitches. I think that could be a reason as well.
Yeah.
The other reason is Bassett has been known to take a little bit more time in between pitches just because of his big arsenal, and now with the pitch clock, he can't do that, and that might be another reason. But other than that, he's your number three, but he could also be an ace in like 10, 15, 20 other teams in this league. So you would like for the next start not to give up 9 runs or whatever he gave up today, but hopefully Bassett turns it around
Yeah.
in Anaheim, I think. Yep.
Right. All right, guys. Thank you for watching this video of Jace tonight. Hope you all have a great day. Please like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications.